E1M1. Twitch.tv/E1M1 Network. That's us. There we go.
The ones and numbers.
Oh, interesting. So I was curious. I still have my Twitch channel set up to do, like, if I'm not online, watch these channels.
Yeah.
And I thought it would just bring that to the forefront, but it actually gives you the option of watching the last broadcast or watching the E1M1 Network channel. That's interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah. I forgot to tell you, I got an email after I did that charity live stream for the Bungie Foundation, and they're like, "Congratulations on your stream. Here's all the stats." And it was number of followers went up by plus 1,900%. It's just like,
of course
Jesus. All right. That works.
I'm just saying, dude, you should have done it from the show's channel.
I know. That was my original intention, and then when I went to go fill out the form for the fundraiser, the language on it was a little bit confusing, so I filled out my Twitch channel, not realizing that, because all the people that they're signing up, like, they're
streamers.
Yeah, so they have their stream, they have their YouTube channel, they have their branding, like, everything is all exactly the same name. I have like 4 of these fucking channels for all this other dumb bullshit I'm doing. Like, I don't have any like consistent branding. So I'm just like, oh yeah, here's my Twitch channel, no big deal. And I was like, oh right, my Twitch channel, right. That's, yep, okay, cool. So maybe next year, we'll see.
Yep.
Oh goodness, gravy.
Oh.
If you want to know why Moon is feeling pretty poorly, listen to this week's Outcast. Patreon.com/E1M1.
Ones and numbers. Yeah.
All right. Are you ready to get started?
No, but sure. I haven't even opened the show notes yet.
Get the suffering over with. Oh, man. All right.
Hold on, let me just open the show notes.
That's right. Our delicious powdered sugar covered show notes.
So, real quick, just before we go live. Actually, no, I'll talk about it when you get there. Let's go.
Well, we're already live. Oh, you want when we start the episode?
Yes.
Okay. All right, starting in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of That Video Game Podcast, aka TVGP. I'm your host, Boston, and joining me as always is Moonpier.
Hello.
The Nimp is off this week, taking care of some stuff. He'll be back, hopefully next week. Probably next week. Most likely next week. Anywho's. So it's just the two of us. Let's mention here, patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones and numbers, I guess.
Yeah, if you want to know why Moon is feeling pretty rough this week, you might want to go listen.
Season. We might as well just say it's cursed season.
It is cursed season. Go listen to the Outcast over there, which is the weekly patron exclusive at the $2 tier or higher, where we talk about. Normally, we talk about all the other stuff except for video games. Talked about some hot tips on a video game we're playing right now over there as well. We also, Moon sampled his second of too many.
8 sodas.
Second of 8 cursed pop samplings. This was a 1. God. Thank you, Moon, for the Skype animated emojis. So go check that out over there. Those are always really good episodes. Even if we don't have stuff to talk about, we talk about a little bit of TV shows, some rap music. We talk about making some lunch, ordering pizza. We talk about a lot of. There's some pretty good foodcast in there. If you're itching for some of that.
What is your cost to taste ratio?
That's right. Do the math along with us. We don't really do it, but you know what it is in your heart. Don't forget, you also get exclusive access to the Critical Misses production meeting. We talk about the behind the scenes stuff. You might want to keep an eye on that feed this week.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Plans change.
yeah, that's the nature of doing stuff. You know, it's easier to plan for this show because we're just doing it week over week. So you just kind of you roll
Mhm.
with whatever the punches deliver that week. But if you dare to try to schedule something, there's always going to be a spanner in the works pretty quickly.
Mhm.
So go check that out. You also get exclusive access at the $5 tier, just like over for the production meeting, for The Wayward Sons, which is the supernatural TV show watchcast featuring Moon and the Nymph. Season 2 is well underway right now. There's a bunch of stuff scheduled
Mhm.
there on the feed that goes up every other week that alternates between Critical Misses and Wayward Sons. So at the $5 tier, you get access to both. And then you get access to early access to Critical Misses, like we're talking about, a show where we're catching up on all the media hits we missed. And we roguelike it. Ramon and I are just trying to play as many roguelikes as we possibly can. We're
Yes.
rolling the dice on whether or not they're good or not. Heyo.
And then we hand it over to the professors, and
That's right.
they do the appropriate work.
Yeah, they have the hard job of ranking it at the end of the month, trying to figure out where it sits in our infallible list of the best roguelikes of all time. You can find all of that over at patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones and numbers, I just did a little burp as I was about to say that, and it was gross. It was so gross.
So rough. Also, quick note here, there's a brand new episode of Picking Up the Pixels RPG Love on the feed going up alongside this episode as well. We dive in. It's a special note that if you haven't listened to that show, we primarily focus on RPGs, whether they're Western or computer or Japanese or Command or whatever type of RPGs. But we also talk about some other stuff along the way, some Vampire Survivors because it's kind of an RPG. We're in the midst of talking about Remedy's games here, so we're kind of closing the loop on Alan Wake 2 over there. So if you want some hot Alan Wake 2 impressions, you got that over there.
I'm assuming that's Musum who's been playing Alan Wake 2.
Correct. Yeah, he went through and he played Alan Wake and all the DLC. That was last month's episode for January 2024.
So he beat me to the punch because
Yeah.
I was doing that over Christmas and then I got sick.
Yeah, he played Alan Wake and the DLC, and then American Nightmare, then what's the time travel one?
Quantum Break.
Quantum Break and Control, and then now finished Alan Wake 2. There are no spoilers for Alan Wake 2 in that episode. Though, so
I was going to say, because I'm only like a third of the way through Control so far. Mm-hmm. So
I really want to go back and play Control, but you'll find out during this week why I'm not. So go check that out. It's still a great show, but you know we're still trying to intro it on this feed as well, since it's now shown up alongside. And if you like the stuff that we talk about here on this show, kind of go more in depth on the RPGs we talk about on this show. So we kind of get deeper into each individual game over there. So, all right, all that out of the way, Moon, what have you been playing this past week?
Out of curiosity, is your delay on going back to Control, is that Persona E related?
It's mostly that I want to get through some of the games I'm playing right now, and if I play Control,
like me,
I know I'm just gonna
2-for-1 special.
Well, and also like if I go back to playing Control, I know I'm just gonna sit down and play all of it from front to. It's the only thing that I'm gonna play. Just like when I played it before, I'm not gonna be able to play that and other stuff at the same time because Control is so good that it's just like, well, why would I play anything other than Control? It's Control. Come on. So.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good point there.
Yeah.
So, due to work and mental reasons, I haven't really felt like playing a whole lot this week. So I actually only really have 2 games other than the usual. So We Roguelike It, I played that. Game Club, I played that. You'll get the episodes on those as and when they come out.
Yep.
Don't pull up a video. Don't pull up a video for this. I absolutely hate Disney-Pixar Rush Adventure, whatever the hell that thing is called.
Rush, because Disney-Pixar Adventure?
Disney-Pixar Adventure, I think so. I think that's right, but at this point, I don't care. I'm literally trying to get through the levels. That's 23 gigs, by the way, just for the record.
If I could ever fight
23
a video
gigs.
game, I'd fight this video game.
It's so grindy, dude. Like, if that wasn't bad enough, I have another problem with this game, which is when you know how when you beat like a game or a level or something, like you're playing a game and you proc like 3 achievements at once and you just get kaplunk done, kaplunk done,
Yep.
kaplunk done. Like when you beat a game on the hardest difficulty and you get all of those sweet achievements all at the same
Right. I
time.
got 5 gold trophies. I got a platinum trophy. It has all the cool animations. It makes the cool noise.
Yeah,
I'm like,
exactly.
yeah, and click, delete, and I'm done. Moving on.
Yeah, exactly. Disney-Pixar Rush, you can only unlock 1 achievement at a time. If you complete a level in a nature that lets you have 2 achievements, it will only pop 1 of them. It won't even stack the other one for like a couple of seconds later. You have to play the level again to get the other achievement.
What the hell?
Asobo, I'm so glad you got your crap together, because this is unacceptable.
That's right. Yeah, much better from your heady days of making Rush.
It's so frustrating in so many levels, dude. It's
Also,
just like
I like that it's a Sisyphean task designed specifically for you as well. Where it's like,
yeah.
oh, you want to be super efficient and unlock 3 or 4 things in this level? You can't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Play it again. Play
That's
it
right.
again, Bob. Play
That's
it again.
right.
Like, just keep playing it
Just
again. Like, that's
death by one more cut. It's like, oh god, okay.
Like, I wouldn't even mind, but even like, because I mean, one of the reasons I'm accepting of this kind of design, not the achievement, but the grindy nature of the levels that we talked about previously, it's because it's designed for kids, and I get that. So it's designed to be, hey, I spent $50 on this game. It shouldn't be 4 hours long. For kids,
Exactly.
It should be the same as the Lego games. Like when you get the Lego Star Wars game and you give that to a kid, that kid is going to be playing that game for about 700 hours, and you're happy.
That's right.
You don't have to buy another game for like 700 hours.
Right.
Go listen to me talk in previous episodes about the Skywalker Saga game that just took like a year to complete. So I get that aspect of it, but the whole thing of like, part of this thing is you go into the worlds, and like, I don't know, have I ever talked about the setup of this game before, by the way? I can't remember if I
think
have.
we did a little bit when you originally started.
Yeah, so like you're a little kid, you go to a fairground and you go into these different quote unquote worlds. And it's like 5 worlds, all Disney Pixar based. So it's The Incredibles, Cars, Up, Finding Nemo, and Toy Story. But when you go into the quote unquote worlds, you're basically just going over, and then a kid starts talking to you, and you play with the kid, and the level is the imagination of the children. So you're playing through this level based on the imagination of the children. Fantastic concept. Like, I really like that, because the kid starts talking, and as the kid is talking, like, it becomes an imagination bubble. The imagination bubble becomes the full screen. And you start playing the level, and the kid's voice transitions from their voice to the character that they are playing from the world.
That's clever.
So it's a really smart, like really intelligent design, and it's teaching important lessons about how imagination is great, playtime is great, having fun and with your friends is great. And then it's all unskippable. It's all really long loading times. Yeah. And then it does this nightmarish achievement grind for me, where it's just like, of course I have to go back in and play it again, because as you're going through each level as well, you can collect character coins, and if you collect all of the character coins from that level, you play as the main. You can choose to play the level not as yourself and whatever version of you there is in the game. When you're in the Toy Story world, you play a little toy robot. When you're in the Cars world, you're a car, but you're not one of the cars. And then when you unlock these 4 character coins in each level, you can play as the main character in that level. So that you can be Lightning McQueen, and you can be Buzz Lightyear, and you can be the kid with the backpack from Up, whatever his name is. There's an achievement for playing all of the levels as that character. So you do that, and you don't get the achievement until you go back and play the first level again as your character. Then the achievement unlocks, because it's so glitchy in everything it's doing.
Your achievement hunter nature is being tested.
Yes, it is. But on the bright side, this has allowed me to not have to think, which is honestly the reason why I'm playing this right now. It's been on my hard drive for a year, so it's not like I'm dying to get it off it. It's more of a case of, hey, my brain is shot, and I really don't have the time or the capacity to play Lies of Pi right now because I don't want to think about blocking and parrying. Like,
exactly.
I don't want to think about that timing nature. So I'm just gonna load Disney-Pixar Russia Adventure, whatever it's called, and run through the Toy Story world for the 5th time today.
Right.
I will say I get really good at going through the levels quicker than the load times. So frequently, if there's no boss battles in a level, because of course there is, but if there's none of them in the level, I can frequently beat the level faster than the load time in and out of the level. That's the scary part.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, you beat this level in 2 minutes. It's like, great. Now I have to wait for the load times to take me back to the main world, which is just useful. So whatever. That's Disney-Pixar Rush. Hopefully next week will be the last time you hear me talk about it because I only have 2 worlds left, and that's Up and Finding Nemo.
Okay.
And once I'm done with them, that thing is gone. So quick it's gone.
Bye.
The only other thing I've been playing, speaking of not having the mental capacity to play things, why not play Thumper?
Oh god. The
only
rhythm,
the most rhythm violence game, yes, is how it's described. For those of you who don't know, that pretty much sums it up perfectly. It is a rhythm violence game. You are a little bug on a rail. Obstacles appear on the rail in front of you, and you have to press certain buttons or do certain actions on the controller in time with the music to allow you to pass those obstacles.
Yep. I'm just going to show the thing that came up when I pulled up Thumper long play on YouTube. Is Thumper from Twisted Metal 1. I was like, oh yeah, Thumper was in that game. Yeah, that's right. That's not the right game.
No, that's not the right game. It's a kind of a driving game, but it's a different driving game. It's driving you forwards in a tunnel.
Right.
If you have motion sickness or nausea, this might not be the game for you.
I couldn't even imagine this thing in VR.
Yeah, I don't want to imagine this thing in VR.
Right.
Like, I just don't. It is a very basic game when it comes to this kind of stuff. Like when it comes to rhythm action games, I should say. So far, I've only played part of the second stage and the first stage several times. Because this game has 14 achievements. Guess what those achievements are, Boston?
Oh, no. What?
Beat the stage. Beat the stage with an S ranking.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Beat stage 2. Beat stage 2 with an S ranking.
Boy.
So, yeah, I beat stage 1 and I beat it with an S ranking.
Nice.
I've only played a little bit of stage 2 so far. Because it does this cool thing where it has checkpoints, and on the pause screen you can reload the checkpoint you're on or reload your previous checkpoint. So if you do a section and you miss the S, it's relatively simple to just go back to that section and try and go for the S.
That's a little better.
So that is very forgiving.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping it's going to be ironic that the rhythm action game, the rhythm game, which is traditionally some of the hardest games to get achievements in, is easier for me to get the achievements in the Disney or Pixar Rush Adventure. It's going to be the hilarious part.
That's right.
This might be one of my favorite rhythm games I've ever played. The presentation is gorgeous. But like I said, the thing that's making me feel this way is the simple nature of the design. This isn't Rock Band where it throws a wall of notes at you and then you're suddenly expected to be able to do it all.
Yeah, there's no like 5-note highway coming at you or anything. It's just one kind of
road
one
lane.
You're on. Yeah.
And then it gives you both visual and audio cues as to what the thing that you'll be needing to do is. So like it'll give you, like, if it's just a little hop, you'll hear like a little like on the audio track, and then the hop will appear and you'll see it coming towards you, and then you just hit it in the beat. And if it's a turn, it gives you a different audio notification, and then you'll see the turn approaching, and then you have to do the turn. Um,
Interesting.
it's so far like I'm having a whole boatload of fun just jumping in, going down a thing. My time with it is limited because there are other people in the household who do suffer from motion sickness and nausea.
Oh,
Um,
sure.
so it cannot be on the screen at the same time as they are present.
Right.
So that becomes time grabbing wise, it's a little bit more difficult to find time to play it. But the soundtrack is immense. Like
Yeah.
it is, it's like I don't even know how to define what type of soundtrack it has, but it's not the type of music I normally listen to. That was Rock Band's job.
Hmm.
Um, but it is very dark and grimy and heavy the
Yeah.
whole time. And like I don't know, visually, audially, like controls, it all just ties together in such a neat little bundle. Um, and it sucks that this is Harmonix who now make music for Fortnite, kind of thing.
Yeah. I don't know what this team has done otherwise. I've always meant to look up who made this. Developer is Drool. Drool, a rhythm
Okay,
violence game from Thumper. Oh, it's only two people that made it. Interesting.
okay, then that's even more impressive because this is unbelievable. Like visually, it's so simple, but it's so clean that it doesn't like. It has such a unique style and feel to everything that it's doing.
Hmm.
That it's shocking how good it is. And like everyone always talks about like the in racing games that sense of speed, that sense of motion, and
Yeah.
like this game does a fantastic job with that.
And it reminds me a lot of like the singular style of something like Cocoon, where it's like you had a very distinct
Yes.
style that you were going for, and you managed to tie everything into that style in a really cool way.
Yeah. I like it's on Xbox. It's like $20, I think, and the only reason I started playing it is because it was on like the either the late Christmas or the January sales for like $7, and I was like, yeah, I will 100% buy Thumper for $7 on my preferred platform of choice.
Yeah, I actually
Yes.
just was looking at their website, thumpergame.com. It's on Steam, itch.io. It's on everything, including all of the VR headsets, and on Apple Arcade as well. So it's free if you have the Apple Arcade subscription. So there's still a button here for Stadia, LOL. Looks like it's on looks like it's on Google as well. Thumper Pocket Edition, so you can play it on your mobile device as well. So that's cool.
It's such a good game, and like I'm not an expert in like rhythm based games, and again, the fact that they call it a rhythm violence game is so appropriate,
It
just
really
on like
does fit.
how it feels and how it plays.
Hmm.
It is very much that kind of vibe. And I don't know, like especially if you have a VR headset, like there's no reason why you shouldn't potentially think about picking this thing up at some point because I'm sure I mean I'm 100% sure, yeah, it's $20 on Xbox by default. Like I picked up for
That's
like
not bad.
7. um I think by default if you have a VR headset and you can handle it, watch a trailer first.
Yeah,
um
100%. Yeah.
Maybe give this a shot on whatever your headset of choice is because it's one of those things where it's like the second I started playing I was like, oh no, I'm getting my headphones for this bad boy.
Yep.
I'm gonna whip out the big boys and just stick
Yeah.
them on my head because I'm gonna need them. Um, I did, and it's worth it because it's so overwhelmingly great.
Yeah.
Yeah, Thumper is fantastic. Hopefully, I'll play more grown-up games soon. It's just time. I
That's
have
all good.
more recordings this week,
Yeah.
but no, that's all I've been playing.
Let's actually get into the game that both you and I played together this week, Lethal Company.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot I played this game. I didn't make a note of playing this game. Why did I not make it? Okay, yeah, that's on me. I played it twice,
Yeah.
I should say.
But Moon
I played it
invited
Friday
a
and then Saturday.
yeah, Moon invited a special secret guest along to play with us,
Mm-hmm.
which turned out to be my good friend and yours, Bill Sefford. So he
Mm-hmm.
played the game with us, and
For the very first time, it is worth mentioning.
Yeah, it was interesting to figure out how to explain this, to play this game for the very first time, to someone, because it is a simple, straightforward game, but there's kind of all this nuance to it that you need to discover for yourself, which was pretty good. We had a blast. I think we played for almost 3 hours. We did really well the majority of the time. I spent probably about 50% of our game dead, for one reason
Don't
or
worry, so did
another.
Bill.
Yeah. And we finished up missing our quota by, I think it was like $5.
Yeah, like $5. It was like,
Yeah,
what? Are you serious?
yeah, that was, yeah. We had a rough time meeting quota there. But yeah, we had a really great. Oh, I wanted to mention too. What's the mod program we've been running? It's like R2 Rodman or something.
R2 Modman.
Modman. Yeah.
It is so useful. As someone who
Yeah.
my last experience with modding games was on like 1999, like
Mm-hmm.
trying to mod games at that point, which is like editing exe files, replacing them, all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
It,
Um,
so Moon set up this. It's essentially like a profile using the R2 Modman application, and he sends us a GUID, which if you haven't seen it, it's just a long string of letters and numbers. And you import a profile into this program by inputting that GUID, and it lists all of the mods that he has set up as part of this profile and the specific versions, and it sets all that stuff up for it and downloads it all automatically, so that when we all launch the game as part of that profile, all of us have the same mods on the same version, and they're installed and they're enabled automatically. It's a
mhm.
godsend for this stuff, instead of like, oh, I found this version, oh, I haven't
I
seen
have
that
these
version
5
yet.
mods installed,
Right. Oh, do
and
you mean the like backpack mod, but not mod for backpacks? It's like, ugh,
no,
this sucks.
no, it's like it's not Super Company to let you play with more people. It's More Company specifically, and it's
Right.
this one.
More company, the
Like
super mod, and it's just like, ugh,
and
God.
the mod downloads take like seconds,
Yeah.
like not much time at all. Like I had the same thing on Saturday. On Saturday, I played with Rob and Justin, who couldn't make it on Friday,
Hmm.
and we played on Saturday. Justin, no idea how to set her up. I pointed him to the right thing. I give him the code. He was like, "Cool, download it now." He loaded in the game. He was in.
Yeah.
Like it was
Click
really
launch
simple.
modded version, and you're good. Like
If it if
it's
it's simple
incredible.
enough for Justin, it's simple enough for you. I love you, Justin, but it's true.
Yeah, but
Um,
I don't think we had anything that was uh super unexpected or kind of
No, no, no.
different.
You were dead when the Blair Witch moment happened. When Bilzerford's flashlight was like put. So for whatever reason, Bill's usually ended up running around with me,
Hmm.
and Bill's is very much like Rob, where he was get as you all do. He gets a little bit frightened and whatever, but as I pointed out to him, he shows a reckless abandon of sprinting into dark corridors for someone who claims he's scared.
Yep.
So we would end up going together. We were walking around. We were having a good time. We were laughing and joking away. And then we got split up at some point, and then like I'm in the big room. If you know the big room, you know exactly what room I'm talking about.
Hmm.
And it was like, well, I can hear someone in the distance, but I don't know who it is. I don't have a radio, and I don't have anything else going on right now, so I have no idea what's going on. So then I go back into the big room after walking off a bunch of offsets, and I'm like, it was a guy, so it was either Bill or it was Boston.
Hmm.
So I'm walking through this dark corridor, not knowing that Boston and Ash were secretly at the ship, just enjoying their safety time together. Um, and I was like, Bill, Boston.
Anybody?
And Bill had pulled the apparatus at this point in time, so I think I'm just going to refer to Bill as the moth from now on, because the second he sees that thing, he yanks it and just
Right.
goes. um, so he had pulled the apparatus, so the whole level was pitch black. I don't have a flashlight, so I'm walking around with my scanner light alone, like right-clicking every 0.5 seconds to try and get
Hmm.
some light. And I look down this corridor, and then there's a light shining on the wall, and it's like, wait, all the lights are out. What is this light? And I go around the corner, and there's a flashlight on the floor, shining its light to a dead body that's like on its knees, bent over backwards. And it was like, I literally referred to it as like a scene from the Blair Witch. The
Hmm.
other thing it reminds me of is in BioShock when you get to that doctor's area and he starts shining the
Right.
flashlights on the displays he's made.
Yep.
And she's like, oh, great. Great, great,
What's
great.
in here that's strong enough to break a man's spine?
Fantastic. Exactly. So then I had to get what I could, including the flashlight and Bill's body and everything else, to try and work my way back to the ship. I eventually did it. And it was so tense because it was one of those things where I'm lost. I don't know where I am. I don't have a radio. I can't call for help.
Hmm.
And unbeknownst to me, you and Ash are sitting on the screen just watching my little cursor wander around this maze trying to find my way out.
Yep.
And it's like, oh great, now I have things chasing me. And I think I think a different time we had a coil head incident where Bill didn't know exactly what it was. And trying to explain to us like just keep looking at it. Don't take your eyes off it because
Right.
if you do, it will kill you. And trying to explain that whole situation. I will say really quick shout out on Saturday when I played. We started off okay. We had some really great runs, and then it started getting harder and rougher.
Mm.
And if you ever play this game with me, I do what's known as moon shopping, which is I shop and I buy 12 walkie-talkies, 12 pro flashlights, because that way, if any of us die, we're not concerned about supplies. It's like,
Right.
oh no, whatever, we lost a flashlight. Look, there's a closet full of them. Who cares?
Yeah.
Like,
Pull one off the
that's
shelf.
the
You're
way I
good.
play. Yeah. And then the run I was on Saturday, we ran out of walkie-talkies. We were almost out of flashlights.
Hmm.
So it was very much a case of, oh no, now we're on Rend and we don't have any supplies.
Oh boy. Also,
And it's
big shout out to the walkie-talkie mod where you can just hear it
yes,
around it, whatever that one's called. Makes a huge difference. Makes more sense. Highly recommend it.
yes. It lets, if someone near you has a walkie and you don't, and someone radios, you can hear what's being broadcast over the radio.
Yep.
Just like it would make sense. But we ended up doing this huge, massive run on Rend that we ended up getting literally $3 over the quota, and the quota was like 1,397.
Jeez.
So we had an absolutely astonishing successful run with zero supplies, and it was just people like dropping stuff off at the front door.
Right.
Ash was being the ship to the door person because
Yeah.
she absolutely hates that map, and the rest of us were just grabbing as much stuff as we could. But the reason I wanted to shout out Ash is because I got head crabbed in one of the earlier runs that we did, and Ash was on the ship and noticed it, and then teleported me.
Oh, okay.
And when you get teleported while you have a head crab on, the head crab dies.
Oh, right.
And if you're fast enough, the person can survive the whole process.
Right.
So I was going to get the apparatus. The head crab jumped on me. Ash teleported me, saved my life, killed the head crab, and then that allowed me to just go run straight back in, go straight to where the apparatus room was, grab all of my gubbins and the apparatus, and boogie.
Man.
It
MVP.
was
MVP.
one of the clutchest moves I've ever seen.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, this game is super great. It's if you have the means to play it, you really should with as many people as you can. If you can have 4 people playing it at the same time, it's really great. Super easy to get a game started as long as you're Steam friends. I'm sure it'd be easy if you're not, but I don't think I would want to play it with randos. But it's great. Every time I play it, I'm like, yeah, this game is super good. I could keep playing this for a couple of hours. It's great.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's just so much fun, and like it's the interesting part for me is everyone's idiosyncrasies as they play it as well, because like everyone has their own things. Like Rob won't jump. He will not do a jump if he can avoid doing a jump. Ash refuses to do a jump because Ash cannot make the jump. That is the difference there. Whereas me, like, I know full well I'm an idiot. Like, I will drop a flashlight off at home base and just go in with a walkie if I can.
Right.
Like, I'm like, I don't need no flashlights. Who cares about flashlights? And then I get to a dark area and I start to get scared and run away like a big baby. Um,
I'm impatient
but
a lot of times where I'm like, all right, we're sitting so much talking,
yes,
let's go. I'm leaving. Bye.
do we want to talk about the turret run?
We were landing on a planet, and Ash,
Offense.
yeah, and Ash says, "Oh, the land of turrets, enjoy." And we, I think there was the planet where we went in the front door, and for literally 15 seconds, just like as soon as we went in the door, spraying bullets down this corridor. And it's like, oh, word, okay, cool. This is
And
a
then
great first
I think
start.
me and you went off like a side door and we went
Mm-hmm.
around like one of the corners, like, oh, there's a turret there. We're just going to run past it. And as we ran past it, we hit a cross section and there was turrets on both sides of the cross section. So we just had to keep running. It was like,
Yep.
yeah, okay. Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe Ash was right. Maybe
Yeah.
this is the land of the turrets.
Maybe we'll just leave.
Mm-hmm.
Leave the company's great. Highly
We
recommended.
did get squeaky again, which
Yes.
is the most important thing.
Yes, naturally. All right, for my games this week, I finished. Sorry, I platinumed Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. Um, I had to look up a guide for the ingots. I didn't realize. So when you go through the game, you can upgrade the amulets you pick up and like your potions, your Estus flasks, essentially, and your weapons. And to upgrade your weapons past a certain point, you need these metal ingots that are hidden throughout the game. Most of them you're going to kind of find as you go through the game. I
You
missed.
said you needed a guide. So does that mean there's wall ingots in this thing?
No. The frustrating part is, and there's like no real way to get around this in a Metroidvania, is that there were some that I had missed in areas that I had fully explored because it was like ride this elevator to the top, and then when it's at the top, hop on the top of the elevator and then double jump off of the top of it, and then there'll be a platform up there that you've just never seen.
Yeah.
I don't know how you show that on the map of like, oh, you've been to this area, but you haven't found X, Y, and Z. Each,
Dude, no. That's easy. Castlevania did solve that problem by having the white lines and then the blue gap when there was a place you could go up where that you
yeah,
hadn't been up there yet.
it's tough because each room is so big and they're not really square. The game I think does a really good job of when you're in an area and you have that area highlighted, there's a little marker in the upper left hand side of the screen where it's like you found this many crystals. Crystals will get you the in-game currency. You found this many sand jars, this many Xerxes coins, and et cetera, et cetera. So it will give you an idea of how many you've finished and like how much you've discovered. But knowing where to go without kind of re-exploring the entire area, that's kind of a different thing. So I used a guide. I think I only needed like 4 or 5 more, and there's 20 total. So I had found the majority of them by myself, but at that point it's like, all right, the map is big enough that I kind of don't want to go through the entirety of the thing. And at the
Yeah.
end, I just kind of want to be done so I can move on to the next thing. So, I'm still super happy with it. That was really the only thing I needed a guide for, which is fine. I probably could have found most of them by just wandering around the map again, but I was ready to kind of move on to the next thing. So, still, again, highly recommended. Unfortunately, the game has not really sold super well, which is kind of a bummer. But
Yeah, I was reading about that, which kind of sucks because I haven't bought it yet, and I
right,
desperately need to because to be honest, it's a Metroidvania, and from everybody talking about it, I really should.
I I, I
So
think I think it's one of the best Metroidvanias that's been made in the last couple of years. I think a big strong point for it is I finished the game with the majority of the stuff discovered in like 15, 16 hours. Like that's a
yeah,
really good length. It's not super long. Like I love Hollow Knight, but Hollow Knight is really long.
it's too
Even
long.
even if you don't try to do 100% of the stuff, it's a really big and really long game. I
I'm
feel
hearing
like
like similar, like the feedback I'm hearing of this reminds me a lot of Dust and Elysian Tale. where
Yes.
it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, it's one of the best Metroidvanias, and it's about the right length.
Yeah, it's just long enough for you to be like, yeah, all right, I had a good time with that. It didn't overstay its welcome. I think this game is probably going to have a kind of a long tail on it. I'm hoping, so I'm not super worried about sales at this point. I mean, I'm also not a corporation, so that's like not my concern. But I'd like to
Hmm.
see this team continue to make more cool stuff. Like we said last week, it's the Rayman team. So the more cool platforming stuff they get to make, the better. But again, highly recommend this. If you like Metroidvanias, I think this is a really great one. If you've never played a Metroidvania before and you want to start, I think this is probably a pretty good starter one, especially if you like really rewarding, kind of fast paced, good platforming. This game that can be the weak point of some Metroidvanias is the
I feel
movement
like
doesn't feel great.
I feel like that's the biggest thing with Symphony of the Night is Symphony of the Night is arguably best in class at this.
Yes,
But there's so much additional stuff in the background going on that like weirdos like you know all about. So
right.
you can go in there and break that game. Whereas like people like me, like I struggled with Symphony at first
Hmm.
because it was one of those games. It's like there's so much additional knowledge that because it's so good, people have played it through and broken the game so much that it
Right.
can be a little difficult at times to get into the deep into it kind of
And you don't
thing.
have like this month's EGM to be like, did you find these secrets in Symphony of the Night this month? And it's like, oh, all right, dang, I got to go fire that back
Yeah.
up. Um,
Good luck finding something for Symphony of the Night that's not written by weirdos like you, is all I'm
right.
saying.
Or it's like some AI nightmare. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, again, I really recommend this if you, especially if you like Metroidvanias. I think it does. It's really cool, and the movement is great. The combat is really great. The boss battles are great. I think it's really good. I highly recommend it. This will probably be one that I'm not going to replay anytime soon, but I could see myself every couple of years being like, yeah, all right, I've kind of forgotten about this game. Let's go back and play it. That sounds like a fun time. So
You can take the Ubisoft development approach and do Symphony of the Night one year and then do Prince of Persia the next year.
yeah, I'll just alternate. That'll work. Yeah. Next game here, Remnant 2. Played a little bit more of that this week. We finished an area. So areas are kind of broken up into multiple dungeons that usually kind of revolve around a kind of a hub and spoke sort of thing. So usually going into a dungeon, defeating a boss, getting a thing, and then usually how these games usually go is like you go talk to somebody that looks totally messed up and they're like bent over half backwards and wearing a mask or something, and they say like, you need to kill the heart of the beast, and you're like, yeah man, sure, okay, yeah, I can do that, whatever. And then you're like hitting Y to skip through all the conversation stuff because it's well voice acted, but for once in gaming, I kind of don't care. And then they're like, to get the heart of the beast, you need to collect 5 of these things. So you clear out 5 dungeons, kill 5 bosses, you do all that sort of stuff. We beat a boss that was like a giant robot thing that seemed to have like 30 hands. I didn't really understand. It was an incredibly cool boss fight, though. I feel like that's half of the thing in these two games. Sort of like, I don't really know why I was fighting what I was fighting, but it looked really cool and it was fun boss battle. So that that counts for a lot in my book. We went
Yeah.
into a totally different area at this point. Bill joked that it looked like The Witness, and it really did, which is weird because I'm also playing The Witness at the moment. And I haven't been talking about it on the show because don't witness. That was a bad joke. I don't want you to see my secret shame, which is me playing The Witness again, even though
Don't witness me, dude. Don't witness me.
that's right.
Come on.
I really love The Witness, and I don't want to talk about my secret shame of unlocking
Hey,
however many hundreds of
I
puzzles there
have
are in that game.
I have that game on my Xbox because I got it free with gold, but
That's
way
right.
back when.
You should play
I
that.
just
It's
never
really
played
good.
it before.
Yeah, it's really good. I like it. So not a ton of Remnant 2 this week, but it continues to be great, and it continues to be. We talked about it a little bit on Pup this week. I still say like it's probably a fine game to play solo, but if you have a dedicated crew of at least two other, hopefully two other people, so you can play a 3-player. That to me seems like it's kind of the best experience for it, which is like every week you're playing with your two other peeps, you're making a little bit more progress, and you're kind of slowly moving through these games. I think for me that's kind of the best way to play these games. So that's how we've been doing so far. It's been great.
Really quick.
Like it, yes.
So I don't know when it started. I think maybe it was Gears 5 started this.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe it might have been the original Remnant. I don't know when that came out based on Gears 5. But I really like the 3-player lobby.
Yes.
Like I think the Gears devs described it as yeah, 4 people together can be difficult, whereas 3 is easy enough. And I think this is genuinely a fantastic, like, good count for, like, especially like co-op games.
Yeah.
I think 4 can be difficult to get together, but I think 3 is easy enough. That's like 2 people in addition to yourself. Whereas, like, I mean, we've seen it with Lethal Company. Like this week we had 4 last, but we were missing 2.
Mm-hmm.
Then the week before we had 4, but we were missing 1. And then the week before that we had 3 because we were missing like 4. It's like, I think 3 is a good, nice number for this kind of game, because especially when you can like hot swap people in and out of the game.
Yeah.
I think that can be really useful too.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say mad props for the 3-player lobby, because there isn't enough games that do that.
Yeah, I agree. 2 thumbs up. Keep doing 3 players.
3 thumbs up, dude. 3.
That's
you
right.
do 1, I do 2.
Got a thumb. Next game here, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. I just started chapter 4 here. I'm unlocking so much stuff. I've unlocked a dating app. I've unlocked a social media thing. I unlocked the Crazy Taxi game that's in there, where you're doing like a DoorDash delivery system thing, but you're trying to do it in the flashiest way possible. The Crazy Taxi mode is actually genuinely really fun, and it controls really well. Which
does it reference it with some form of ya at the start? Please say yes.
It totally does. It's
awesome.
The very American dude that started up this company is wearing like a yellow outfit, and he has very short green dyed hair. And I was like, okay, yep, you know exactly what you're doing. He keeps saying like, you got to make crazy deliveries, and it's like, oh man, okay, you got the whole thing. That's super good. So far everything I've been unlocking has been really great. I unlocked the summoning system, Pound Mates, which is full of references so far, which has been super great. I unlocked a new thing once I leveled up high enough. So a problem that a lot of RPGs deal with is if there's no level scaling, which hopefully there isn't, because level scaling sucks. What happens when you fight low-level enemies, say they're like level 5 and you're level 15? Like, what do you do in that case? Sometimes some games will be like, oh, the enemies just run away, but then you can't really farm XP for lower level party members. You can't farm materials and stuff like that. I like how they do it in this one. Every time you run into enemies, the color of icon that's above their head will tell you their approximate level to you. So if it's purple or another color above that, they're way higher than you are. You really shouldn't fight them. If they're red, they're about your level. If they're blue, that means they're under your level. If you run into some blue enemies and you fight them, you actually just hit L2 and your party members rush automatically, hit them a couple times, and destroy all of them out of hand. And the only downside for that is you only get 0.7 times the normal XP you would get, but you finish the battle in like 5 seconds. So it's a cool kind of trade-off for that. The interesting thing that I ran into is I am about to get into a dungeon, and the game is basically saying, like, they do the normal thing of like, hey, when you get into this, you're gonna be in there for a while. You won't be able to come out of the dungeon, so make sure you're prepped. Make sure you get anything done that you wanted to get done. But also, probably directly addressing one of the complaints of Yakuza Like a Dragon, is it said, hey, the level requirements for this dungeon is level 13 and gear score, it was like 2 stars or something. That's really great, and I really wish more games would do that, because one of the big complaints of Yakuza Like a Dragon is every once in a while you'd get into a dungeon and you'd get to the boss battle and it would be way higher level than you were expecting, unless you've been kind of doing side stuff and wandering around town. So I really appreciate that this game is saying, hey, this dungeon gonna be level 13, get to around here and you'll be well prepared. I'm like level 18 at this point, so I know that I'm gonna be okay, but I really wish more games would do that, of just like, here's the approximate level you need to be to get into this. So 2 thumbs up to them. Most of my time this week was doing side quests. A bunch of them have been about as goofy as they normally are, which has been really great. And mostly wandering around the town and just kind of leveling up and doing side stuff. I did a bunch of story stuff this week to move from chapter 3 or chapter 4, but none of that is stuff I really want to talk about on the show, because it's all spoiler stuff. So
Yeah.
really enjoying Infinite Wealth so far. Just kind of moving at my own pace through it at the moment. I know there's a ton of content in here. I haven't even unlocked the Animal Crossing stuff. I just unlocked the Sujimon battling stuff, so it's like 3v3 Pokemon battling stuff. So now I can, sometimes when you defeat an enemy, they'll stay on the world map, and I can talk to them and try and recruit them to my team, and then they'll join my Sujimon team, which is like a whole separate thing. So I'm only getting into that, but that seems pretty complex, not in a bad way, but it's basically like, you did this whole big tutorial thing, and now it's like, hey, now you have raids in the game, just like how they have in Pokemon games and stuff like that. So it's like, okay, sure, that's what we're doing now. Great. So really enjoying that. Last game here, real quickly. I only have about an hour in Persona 3 Reload. This is the Persona 3 full remake that they have done.
Tell us about your woes, Boston.
Yeah, so I really have to give them a lot of credit. Every time you fire up the game, not even when you start a brand new game, it gives a very clear content warning at the beginning of the game. It says, hey, this game deals primarily with these 3 topics. It's like descriptions of violence, bullying, and suicide. These are not like, these are for real content warnings. So if any of these are issues for you, please don't play this game. I give them a lot of credit, because I've seen a lot of people online saying like, this would have been a really great time to take out the evokers of Persona 3 because they're problematic. Sort of
Literally,
missing...
that was the first question I asked you.
Yeah.
I think it was after we recorded, what was it, Game Club?
I think so.
And literally, I asked you, are the evokers still in there? And you're like, yep. I'm like,
Yep.
okay.
It still has the exact same intro to the game where Yukari has the evoker against her head.
It was post-show on one of the other episodes.
Yeah. So far in the first hour, it has a brand new intro, kind of like it has like almost like a sizzle reel intro, kind of like how Persona 4 and 5 did, where it's primarily focusing on the art. It has a brand new song to intro the game. It really like a stylistic thing. The actual intro of the game so far seems to be intact. Some of the voice acting has been changed for one reason or another, which we won't get into because of some people being wrong-uns. But everybody else...
Pretty sure I know why.
Yeah. Everybody else has the same voice actors, and it's really wild hearing them not PS2 disc compressed. So it's like, oh, that's
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
yeah, people sound real good. Um, the soundtrack is re-recorded, which I think so far has been really good. The only one that's tripping me up is the dorm theme. You know, the one with the rapping in the background. Um, it sounds way clearer now, which is messing me up because I feel like everybody had the same experience playing the original on the PS2, where you're like, ah, damn, this song is really good. Is that somebody rapping? No, that's just an instrument. No, wait, that's somebody rapping. I've noticed a word. No, I don't know about that. So, like, being able to hear it clearly is a little bit weird. Um, it's so far, it's been really good. Um, I I like a lot of the kind of menu treatments they've done. The menu in this game looks so incredible. It's very much like the Persona 5 menu, where it's kind of flipping and spinning. Your character, when you open up the menu, kind of dives into water upside down, like Kingdom Hearts style, to open the menu, which looks really good. Um, and one of my favorite pieces of the menu so far is you play Persona 3, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you know when it moves from like lunchtime to after school and it has that kind of menu treatment, they changed
Hmm.
it this time so there's the big hand on the clock draws the words like after school, and then the little hand ticks a couple of times as it loads, and then by the time it gets like the second or third tick, it the screen goes away and moves. Like it's a really cool, the game is doing so much to reinforce the nature of time that kind of
Hmm.
it is the undercurrent of this entire game, and it's
The
it
entire franchise, really.
yeah,
Like I like the fact that it's reinforcing that whole aspect of everything.
right. So it's really interesting to see them kind of lean all the way into that as not only the driving force of the entire game, but from a stylistic standpoint, it's really neat to see them to do all that stuff. So, um, I've only spent an hour with it because it just came out on. I got my physical copy on Friday, and uh, I haven't really had enough time to spend with it because, like we talked about with the content warning, it's a very M-rated game, so I can't really play it with my kid around.
Kiddo around, yeah.
Even like I'm gonna get into Tartarus and do some grinding. You can't even really do that. So I'm expecting to spend some time with it on my portal over the next couple weeks. I suspect, but so far so good. I think it's impressive at the beginning. Runs super well, looks super great. I'm seeing that the PC version has ray tracing, which is definitely not what I
Okay.
was expecting. But I bet that looks really good. And so far, like I think one of the biggest things about it is it's Persona 3. So like they have so far captured what I think is really interesting in that game and delivered it mostly intact. I haven't even fought a single battle yet because I'm only in like the first hour here. But I'm really curious. I know that they've changed a bunch of stuff in the battle system. There are like Persona 4 and 5 had like the baton pass stuff, and they've retroactively put that in here. And there's some additional stuff that they put in here that I'm really excited to dig into. They also just tutorialized the rewind system, which is interesting because it basically saying, the way I understand it is basically saying like you're at a current moment in time in your playthrough, you can actually, if you feel like you made a wrong choice or you wasted a day or whatever, you can actually rewind the game back to a certain point and then start playing from there. So I think if you like made the wrong choice in a day, or maybe you didn't make it through Tartarus fast enough or whatever, you actually just rewind a couple of days and then start playing back from that point, which is
Interesting.
really interesting. I'm the original Persona 3 was kind of a brutal game. It was never really mean, but it was very difficult.
Oh, it was hard.
Yeah, so like they've done some stuff to smooth that over with the rewind system. People don't get sick anymore, which is such a great improvement, and I'm so happy they put that in there. And so far, it seems really great. I'm really excited to. I'm kind of playing this and Infinite Wealth at the same time, and having a blast with both of them. So, trying to finish
You're not
these.
getting any of that weird fatigue of switching between two big old JRPGs?
No, not so far, because I think the thing that bothers me the most when I switch between games is when I'm switching between games that have similar control schemes when they're like an action game. And that messes me up the most because I'm like, oh wait, dodge is on triangle in this game and not square in this other one. Oh, okay, all right. So none of that really matters in kind of turn-based command RPGs like this. So that makes it a lot easier to switch between the two. And plus, I got to finish both of them before Final Fantasy VII Rebirth comes out at the end of the month.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah, I'm trying. All right, that's all I'm playing this week. Let's take a break. Where are my show notes? There it is.
I literally, as soon as you stopped talking, I had a from outside of the closed door.
Oh, is it a feline friend?
I have a Louise waiting for me, yes.
Let me in. Let me love you. Oh, man. Okay. Are you ready to start this other segment?
Sure.
All right, let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Let's talk releases for the week of February 5th, 2024, starting with Foam Stars coming out on the PS4 and PS5. This is PlayStation Plus day and date. This is the Square Enix published Splatoon-like, where you're painting and like building up because the foam is kind of has volume to it. People that have been previewing it so far have said that it's actually pretty good. So curious.
I don't like the fact that it like on the trailer or gameplay that you're showing on the stream. The time ran out and it said party over. I don't think I want young people Googling what a foam party was when we grew up.
They don't need to know our shame. Don't worry about what happened there. Yeah, I'm interested to see what's going on here because on the surface it looks like it's just a Splatoon knockoff, but that doesn't seem like a thing that most publishers would publish. I mean, Square Enix, you can say a lot about them, and not a lot of it is kind, and you'd be fair. But
you could say that about any of the big guys, though.
Yeah, that's true. It seems more like a Ubisoft joint than a Square Enix joint. Let's just put it that way.
It really does. Like, as soon as you had the thing up, I was like, oh, that's a Ubisoft game, clearly.
Yeah, Ubisoft is just copying a big guy. So we'll see. I might give this a shot because it's on PS Plus. I'm not going to stick with it because, I mean, my 2 live service games are Destiny and Fortnite, so people shouldn't have a third. People probably shouldn't have a first, nevertheless a second. So we'll see. I don't know. Next game here, Helldivers 2. This is people seem to really like the first Helldivers game, and that was a top-down
PS exclusive.
Like a top-down or isometric action tacticy thing. This is a third-person game this time.
Yeah, it feels like the Risk of Rain 2 there.
Yes, very much so. It seems interesting. I never got into the first one. That was one of those games I thought I would like, and it kind of passed me by. But so far this seems like it's a cool, interesting thing. I'm sure this is another one, since it's co-op focused, you probably want a squad of friends to play through this and kind of shoot the poops with while you're blasting bugs.
I'm debating picking this up on PC because I don't have a PlayStation, and it is a PlayStation exclusive.
Yeah, PS5 and PC, yeah.
Yeah, I will be waiting to see what the reviews say, but also then waiting to see if it has crossplay.
It does.
because I don't want to like buy it on the Epic Store and then not be able to play with anybody
Right.
else.
Yeah, they've been making a point of saying this does have crossplay between PS5 and PC. So hopefully it'll come out on other stuff. I don't think the original did. Wasn't that
It didn't, and it won't.
A Vita game that came out on PS4 later? I think.
Possibly, but I
Yeah.
know they've already announced Sony's putting money behind marketing for this, so
Oh, okay. So
it's
yeah,
gonna remain a PlayStation exclusive.
yeah. Bummer. All right, that's all of our releases for this week. Shockingly, a pretty quiet week. So let's talk about our one news story. We haven't been talking about a lot of news stories here lately. Let's talk about why.
Guess why?
Look at the industry. It's a
Uh-huh.
real bummer out there, everybody. So we're not we're not going to talk about stuff that sucks, and like probably a bunch of other podcasts that you listen to that are more ingrained in the industry itself, like with journalists and stuff. They're probably going to be able to speak to this a lot more, not intelligently than we can, but probably with a more inside knowledge than we can. It's not interesting here to shrug our shoulders and be like, this sucks. Moving on. So let's talk about something positive here. PDP has announced the Riff Master guitar. This is going to be available for Rock Band, I'm assuming 4. I guess it might work with the previous ones. And Fortnite
It definitely
Festival.
works with 4.
Yeah. And Fortnite Festival, which we'll be getting. Harmonix says that it's coming, controller support. Guitar controller support is coming for that sometime this year. It's wireless, which I thought is interesting. They have 2 versions. One is for Xbox One and Series consoles. The other one is for PS4 and PS5, which makes sense.
They both work for PC, I'm assuming.
I don't. Probably not, because both consoles, if I remember correctly, use their own proprietary wireless connections.
Xbox is Bluetooth, so
okay, so maybe buy the Xbox One, or maybe wait for some nerds.
maybe you actually research that yourself before you spend X amount of money on a wireless guitar.
Yeah. It has a headphone jack, which I think is really smart. The neck folds down, so you can kind of
very clever.
Fold it in half, which apparently some third-party guitar controllers could already do, but this is a new thing for me. Has a removable faceplate, so the kind of pick guard will come off, and then an analog stick under the head part of the controller. So instead of having to like mess around with the D-pad only, you can do some analog stick stuff there as well. So no specific release date. They're just saying spring 2024 and no price yet. But this seems pretty cool. This is an official. So these are wireless, so it means they're official licensed products for both consoles, which I think is really great because I'm sure a wired one would work fine, but that's probably not the way you really want to go about these things. So that seems cool. Good on PDP for putting out one of these because, hey man, these things aren't getting easier to find. So I think
that is definitely true.
The one
we
thing
literally talked about it like 6 months ago.
That's right. And the one thing I hope that they do put out, somebody needs to put out the MIDI controller again, because not enough of those were made, and they're really, really hard to find, and you're going to spend a couple $100 to get all the MIDI stuff working in Rock Band 4. So I know there's like some stuff you can do with a Raspberry Pi and stuff, but it'd be great if somebody could just put out like, here's a $50 one and it works. So fingers crossed. All right, let's talk about our questions here. We've been carrying some questions over here for the last couple of weeks. Let's get to them right now. T-Bomb Rocks asks, can you think of another game that's better than the movie it was based on? Wolverine is the best example, but wondering if there are others. Wasn't that...
I have a couple of answers for this, if I'm completely honest.
Okay, sure.
Some of these are side steps, I will admit. Spider-Man 2, the game, is absolutely fabulous.
Yeah.
But Spider-Man 2 the movie is probably better because that performance is just incredible. These are not based on the movies specifically, but one could argue neither was the Wolverine game.
Sure.
but I will say Alien Isolation is better than any Alien content that's come out since 2.
Hmm.
Uh, Knights of the Old Republic is better than any Star Wars content that came out since
Man,
3.
KOTOR was so
Um,
good, man.
uh-huh. Batman Arkham Asylum is a better Batman game than pretty much any of the movies, and I love the movies, but I think that
Yeah,
Arkham
Arkham
Asylum
Asylum was so good.
is really good.
You want a good
Um,
Metroidvania to play? That's like a secret
Arkham Asylum
Metroidvania? Yeah, play
is the
Arkham
hot
Asylum.
one to go
You can
for,
get it for
yes.
$2 nowadays. It's so cheap.
You could get the trilogy and like on sale digitally for like
That's
$5.
true.
I'm pretty sure I've bought them like 5 times.
Yep.
Um, and my final one, Chronicles of Riddick: Escape from Butcher Bay, is
That was the
one
one I
of the
was
best video games ever made.
That's the one I was trying to remember. Is like, boy, what was the Pitch Black movie called? Right. It was
Uh-huh.
that one. Yeah. That was one of
That's a
those ones where
great
it's like
game.
I feel like if you weren't around when that game came out, it was a lot of people being like, "This game is real. This game came out of nowhere. It's really great. What happened?" And they're like, "It's based on a movie. It's based on a couple of movies with Vin Diesel in it. What the hell happened
Hmm.
here?" So,
And it's a prequel to the movies because when you
right.
start that game, he doesn't have a shine job, but he gets it in the process of that game, which is just fantastic.
And didn't Vin Diesel do the voice for
He
for
did the
Riddick in
voice for
those?
it too, I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure, yes.
that was a wild time, man. What a
And the best part is that was also a period when licensed games were exactly what you expect them to be.
Yep,
It's
yeah.
just a horrendous like versions of that kind of thing. I will say, Disney's Bolt is a really good character action game on
Mm,
the 360.
it's true.
That I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know how it holds up to the movie, but it's a genuinely solid introduction to character action games.
It's true. Some of those Paw Patrol games are actually pretty good too. I mean, they're not great, but
Do
if
they
you're,
compare?
I mean, does anything compare to the cinematic majesty of the Paw Patrol?
We know why Chronicles of Riddick was so good as well, by the way. That was a
Hmm.
Starbreeze joint.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
I knew it was
makes
a
a lot of
developer we
sense.
loved. I just couldn't
That's
remember
right.
who it was. It was it was Tygon and Starbreeze.
Whew. It couldn't be bad. Goodness.
Mhm.
Toric00 asks, one of the reasons I like watching Let's Players is because they have the motor skills, twitch reflexes, pattern recognition, or stretches of free time I lack. Are there any games you enjoy watching other people play that you yourself wouldn't play?
There's a whole bunch, if
Hmm.
I'm completely honest. But my problem is I don't like long form video.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it's H Bomber Guy and it's a video essay about a particular subject, I'm fine with it. I like that
That's
form of
different,
long
yeah.
form video. When it comes to gameplay, I don't like. I don't know what it is, but I just don't like watching someone play a game because, in my opinion, if I'm sitting down to watch it, I could be sitting down to play it.
Right.
Um, even with my limited time, because I can't watch it on my phone because my phone is where my podcasts live. Guess what I'm listening to? If I'm listening to something on my phone, it's going to
Right.
be a podcast. It's not going to be a game. But I like clips. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I like. I was speaking to Boston about this literally last week. Ray Narvaez Jr. He's a professional streamer. He does full-time streaming, and every month he puts out a clip compilation of everything he played the previous month. And
Mm-hmm.
it's usually like the best bits, the funniest bits. That's the reason I started playing Lethal Company, is because watching his clips, one specifically, just jumped out at me. It's like, okay, I feel like I need to play this game now. But like,
Mm-hmm.
he does like the Resident Evil randomizers, he does Pokemon randomizers, he
Right.
does like Pokemon Stadium rental. Is like I remember playing those games. I remember loving playing Pokemon Stadium. I don't have the time to go back and play any of those things at the moment. So
Mm-hmm.
like seeing him, it will be usually it's an hour and a 15-minute video, and it's like 20 games all in like this hour and 15 minute, like
Right.
clips in sections. It's like cool, I'll watch that. I'll get the quick hit and then be done. It's very much the Cinema Wins thing I do, where it's like, I love this
Yeah.
movie, I want to watch it. I don't have 2 hours. I'm gonna watch the Cinema Wins video on it instead.
Yeah, that's the majority of the stuff that I watch. Either I'm watching somebody like Northern Lion play something where I'm there for the banter and the conversation more than I am the gameplay. Because not like he's bad
Hmm.
at games, but like that's the primary draw for me with him. Or I'm watching something like Symphony of the Night Randomizer, because I know that game by heart. So seeing people kind of twist and break that game in interesting ways, I think is pretty cool. But I there's not really a lot of stuff that I'm gonna sit down and watch, um, like somebody play a full long play on, because I'm the same as you. Like, if I'm interested in it, I'm probably going to either be playing it or I'm not interested in it at all. Like, it's some sort of horror game, and I'm probably not going to watch it anyways because it's not really in my wheelhouse. I know there's a lot of people that watch. Um, I follow a lot of artists on Twitter, so when a lot of artists watch a lot of that stuff while they're drawing, and I think that's a really interesting way of doing it. But the the majority of the stuff that I'm working on is editing audio, so I can't watch something at the same time that I'm editing audio because the two can't coexist. Favor in chat says Souls like games because I lack that skill. LOL. That's another one that
Which
I
is also the
watch.
same thing that Torek said in the question.
Right,
He doesn't have the time to develop that skill set, and
right.
that's fine. Like, if you find somebody who clicks with you, like especially if their personality clicks with yours, like I like listening to certain people talk about topics that I would not have the time to do a deep dive into. That's why I'm listening to 7 years worth of Waypoint content. Is because I miss listening to Austin Walker talk about stuff and all of the rest of the gang. Like,
Right.
hearing that kind of thing, it's like, yeah, I don't have the time to go and get a degree in, sociology to understand exactly what he's talking about, but it, it's making me think more. And if that's the case of that's how you consume those games, then so be it. Like,
Hmm.
there's nothing wrong with doing that. It's not the way
Yeah.
I do it, but I'm not going to sit there and shame someone because they don't have the time. I don't play uh purely PvP games anymore. Like, I don't play
Hmm.
Siege, I don't play any of these games anymore because I don't have the quote unquote time to get good. If I
Right.
did, I would come on this show and only talk about one game, and that would
That's
be
right.
whatever
Talking
PvP
about the
game I'm
siege
playing.
meta. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's okay. Like that's all part of our you can hear the history of this show as the stuff we've been playing as we've been getting older, as our responsibilities change. The way that we're uh consuming and enjoying media inevitably has to change, and that's okay. That might mean that we're listening to more podcasts and watching less videos. I don't watch a whole ton of YouTube anymore unless I'm watching it with my kid and we're watching, like Japanese toy unboxing videos, and that Kotaro and Hana, the River Otter channel. But beyond
I'm not
that,
gonna
like,
Google that.
yeah, don't worry about it. It's a very cute channel. They're very cute. They're very cute otters.
Yeah, I made a horrible, horrible, horrible mistake the other day.
Mm.
Um, Based on this. Sorry, random tangent here. I was trying to explain what a pink rose diamond was to somebody. So I Googled it and I pulled up pink rose diamond and I clicked the images tab.
Hmm.
And because it's Google, and rather than just show me images, they have all of the shopping links across the top.
Right.
I was scrolling down, and then my thumb didn't catch the scroll on one of them, and I clicked on an ad. And now, ever since, every single ad on my phone is for engagement rings. And it's
Perfect.
like,
Love it.
no.
Bad Google. Stop it. Oh man. Pharaoh Reigns asks our last question here of the week. Okay, I feel like we're due for some food casts, so let's do this. Mincemeat or pecan pie?
If you're talking about mincemeat as in mince pies from England, the traditional Christmas dessert, you
Mm-hmm.
can GTFO. I absolutely despise mince pies. They are
Right.
gross. They're terrible. I hate them. I will happily take a pecan pie every single time over that. I have cherry pie in the fridge upstairs because
Oh,
that
nice.
was my dessert from the meal I had yesterday.
Nice. I'm not the biggest savory pie fan. Like, I'll eat a shepherd's pie. Like, isn't really pie. Pot pie is closer to like a pie. I'll eat either one of those. I'll have a cottage pie if you're nasty. But like, I can never get down with the mincemeat pie. I'm glad to hear that you also are not a fan, because I
No,
love
if it's
pecan.
like regular mincemeat and like if it's like if it's like a pot pie that has mincemeat in it, I'm fine with that. It's
Yeah.
specifically mince pies, which is the dessert kind, which is just
Hmm. Yeah.
no.
I like a pecan pie too, and like I feel like you see them less and less in places. Like if you're at kind of a classic diner, I feel like you see that of like, yeah, I'll take a coffee and a slice of pecan pie. But other than that, I feel like that's not the thing you see the most. Maybe it's a West Coast thing. I don't know, but
Hmm.
that's a real good slice of pie. So I can't really turn one of those down. I'm not going to come here and say it's my favorite pie. That might be peach, because I think peach is my favorite fruit. But
Oh,
I'm not going to turn
oh,
down most
mm.
pie.
If you're talking like traditional like American pie style,
Hmm.
I'm gonna go cherry or I'm gonna go apple, but
The
it's the
classics.
sweet apple. Yeah,
Yeah, you want
I'm
like a
like
Granny Smith in there with a little bite.
yeah, like
Yeah.
I don't peach pie is delicious.
Yep.
I'm fine without peach pie. Blueberry pie, all the other pies, they're all nice. We have like blueberry farms in my neighborhood, so like
Mm.
literally every year we go blueberry picking and then make a boatload of blueberry pies. And then by the time I've had like one of them, I'm like, no, no more
So
blueberry
ma-
pie for like
so
a
ma-
year,
that
please.
that's me with rhubarb pie. I love rhubarb pie,
Oh, I
but by the
miss
time
rhubarb.
I'm done with it, I'm like,
Oh,
I'm good for a little bit. Thanks.
I miss rhubarb so much. Like in England, do they have a hard candy that's rhubarb and custard?
Oh, that
Um,
sounds so good.
it's so delicious because you get the tanginess of the rhubarb, and it's like like the cross ones where it's like the
Mm.
two diagonals are custard and the other two diagonals are
Oh
rhubarb. So you
yeah.
get like the tanginess of the rhubarb mixed in with the smooth sweetness of the custard. It's delicious, dude.
Hmm. So you mentioned American pies. Is there any sort of English pies that you would sway your vote?
I think the problem is most of our pies are very similar to yours. Like I think, oh, I'm trying to think of like very because pies for us tend to be more of a meal, like shepherd's pie, like cottage pie.
Right.
They're more the
The
primary thing.
savory option.
Um, yeah, like dessert wise, like I always went with the cake option and not the American cake, but the
Hmm.
cheesecake, that kind of cake option.
Yeah.
Um, because all of our pies are literally like main meals. Like
Yeah.
then
Well,
it's
the
not dessert.
desserts in England are different. They're not like pie and cake focused. They're more like pastry focused. It seems.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I mean, technically, a pasty is a pie because it's made of the same
Sure.
materials, and it's the only difference is it's closed. It's like a calzone, but like
Right.
for pie filling. But
And
it's like
aren't
that's
they
like
more like you get your own? It's not like I'm gonna cut a
yes.
slice of this. It's like I have
It's not
my
like a
own.
slice thing. It's
It's a
literally like a
hand pie.
folded calzone of like pie crust, and then
Right.
inside you've got all of the normal stuff that you put in like a cottage pie or whatever.
Right. I love that idea. It's surprising that it hasn't caught over here because it's like, yeah, I'll have my own pie. Sure, we have a personal pan
Hmm.
pizza. Why don't we have our own little hand pies? Why not?
Yeah, I mean our equivalent of quote unquote American pies would probably be the tart option. And if I'm gonna
Oh,
go
sure.
like it, if I'm gonna go tarts, it's gonna be a Bakewell. I literally make them every year for that reason
Mm,
because Bakewell tarts are so delicious.
yeah.
Check out the photos in Discord every time I post me making like a tray of 76 Bakewell
Yeah.
tarts.
So good. Oh man. All right. On that mouth-watering note, that's the end of our episode. Thank you very much, everyone, for sending in your questions. If you want to send in questions, you can send them into the Discord questions channel, podcast questions channel. You can find that link and everywhere else to find and follow us as on tvgp.tv. It also has links to the YouTube channel. Go check that out. Everything that goes on the public feed has a video component to it as well. So if you want to go see us talk about games, see our beautiful shining faces, see some gameplay alongside of it, go check that out as well
Beautiful.
over there. Yeah, I mean, you gotta sell us a little bit. We'll make ourselves feel better. Also, if you want to watch the live stream here, we live stream TVGP every Sunday afternoon / night, depending on where you are, at twitch.tv / E1M1 Network. And don't forget about patreon.com / E1M1.
Ones and numbers.
You can get all the cool early access, behind the scenes, all the great stuff we talked about before. Don't forget the $5 a month tier is a recommended one. That's per month, not per episode or per week or anything. So it's a great value because we come out with at least 2 or 3 episodes a week. So you're getting a ton of really great early access and exclusive audio over there. If you can't support us financially, totally understand. Best way to support us, share on social media, whichever platform you're on nowadays. Like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. That does really help. And rate and review this podcast wherever you can, or any of the other shows anywhere you can. That stuff really does help for discovery. Even if you just rate it where you're like, I love it, 5 stars, 5 out of 5. That stuff does really genuinely help discovery. On that note,
Yep.
That's the end of our episode. Thank you for listening. We'll see you all next week. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, what are your titles?
Hey, my mouse was over at the stop button waiting for you to say click. Thank you very much.
Ready to go. We recorded too much already today.
Titles. It's cursed season. Is it Asona E related? It's Control. Play It Again, Bob. The Land of the Turrets. Wall Ingots. Don't Witness Me. Tell Us About Your Woes. And They Don't Need to Know Our Shame.
I have If I Could Fight a Video Game, ... I'm going to get my headphones. It's Cursed Season and the Land of the Turrets.
Gut instinct is Land of the Turrets, but I might need you to check and see if that's been done before.
That's my vote as well. TVGP Turrets.
Because I know there's Pedro, I believe.
Pierre. Oh, you mean the AirTech TVGP-M01 security camera? It's a turret eyeball camera by AirTech.
Good to know.
It does not appear that we have done that before.
Okay.
I like it. I'll circle that.
Yep.
It has been circled.
Okay, I'm good.
Dang, all right. All right,
I
starting
got a really good one.
Okay. All right, starting in 3, 2, 1. This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 850 for February 5th, 2024. The Land of the Turrets.
And the home of the brave.
You were right. That was a good one. All right, thank you very much, everyone, for listening and watching. We greatly appreciate it. We hope we'll see you next week. Bye.